Hey guys, welcome to another game here on War3 TV. I'm Aaron, and the match we have today is from the AWT #2 Qualifiers. It is between the Korean player Lucifer, who plays Undead, obviously, and the other Korean player Agatha, who is playing Human. So let's go ahead and jump right into this game. Now, as I said, this is a match between the Undead Lucifer here, who has spawned on the left side of Echo Isles, and Agatha, the Korean Human player. Agatha, not too known outside of Korea, but he is a very good Korean player. Actually, not a lot of Human players from Korea are that well known. When you think of Asian Human players, you typically think of the Chinese. Sky was so good, so dominant during his run that he inspired so many other Chinese Human players such as Thu and Infi. So when you really think of Asian humans, you think of the Chinese. But Agatha is a good Korean Human player, even though they aren't too well known. Actually, that makes me think of a random fact. Lucifer, the Undead in this game, his brother in real life is actually used to be a pro gamer. Also, he played Human, and he was RJW, Rojin Wook, was the brother of Lucifer. Lucifer's brother is now a model in South Korea and has a Russian girlfriend, for any of those interested in knowing a bit more about the Lucifer family. But we do see Lucifer doing a fast altar build here, getting his Death Knight early. It's going to allow him to do some harassment against the Human player. The Human player also being pretty standard here, getting his Archmage out. We'll most likely see an expansion from Agatha. Most Human players expand versus Undead. It's really hard for a Human to go one base versus one base against Undead. We haven't really seen that playstyle, the single base Human playstyle, for a long time, since probably when Insomnia used to play. He used to play single base knights and flying machines. But we do see Agatha putting up his third farm. We don't see a tower coming out from Agatha yet, so usually we see an arcane tower from the Human players against Undead. We don't see that early tower just yet, so Lucifer may be able to do some harassment against the peasant line of Agatha. Lucifer putting up a Nerubian tower already, so he's wanting to make sure there are no Acolyte harassments going on too early in this game. We do actually see a lot of militia being called for Agatha. He may be creeping out this mercenary camp. There is a scout Acolyte there. And no, actually, Agatha decides to go ahead and creep out his expansion quickly, so the Acolyte doesn't see that Agatha is creeping out this expansion. So Lucifer is running the wrong way. Instead of running straight to this expansion, he's actually running to the main base of Agatha, assuming that he was creeping the green. So Agatha will have plenty of time here to finish this creep camp before the Death Knight realizes what's going on. So now Lucifer, seeing that this Archmage isn't here at these greens, and Agatha almost already finished with this camp. So a really good job here of Agatha of skipping over that Acolyte, and a bit of poor scouting there by Lucifer. He had assumed that it was either the mercenary camp or the green that would be crept, but now Lucifer getting blocked just a little bit here by these peasants, unable to do anything to this peasant line. He hasn't raised any skeletons yet. So for some reason, Lucifer choosing not to raise any skeletons, Agatha being very cautious with his peasants, not wanting any damage to be done. So Lucifer doesn't raise skeletons, he takes some damage on the Death Knight, and all in all, Agatha being able to do quite a bit of damage here in this early game, since he's able to put up a tower, beat down on this Death Knight, taking it down already 20% of his HP, and Lucifer unable to do anything. The Town Hall now being constructed. So Agatha, everything working out perfectly as far as he's concerned, and the Death Knight now able to coil one of these peasants. Finally, skeletons being resurrected, and a couple peasants now being hurt. This peasant in red health, another peasant in red health, so it looks like Lucifer will be able to take down a couple of these peasants here. So Lucifer finally being able to do some damage to this expansion, but his Death Knight is already very low, less than 50% HP on that Death Knight already. Two more peasants in the red, but it looks like the footman will kill that skeleton. A Fiend now out for Lucifer, so he did decide to do a Fiend build. And we see this second peasant getting in the red, but his Death Knight is extremely low, so Lucifer picks off another peasant, sends some more skeletons, trying to pick off a third peasant, but the Town Hall is already halfway to being constructed for the Human player, and the Death Knight forced to run away. And it looks like that final peasant doesn't go down. The Fiend being chased down by the creeps. It looked like Lucifer ran the creeps away, and he actually was able to use his Acolyte to pick up some mercenaries here. So Lucifer doing a good job of understanding that his Death Knight is low and he needs to heal it up. So he actually picks up a Shadow Priest from the mercenary camp of the Human player's side. So good job there by Lucifer, making sure he probably won't lose this Death Knight now, as long as he's careful. This Fiend being very low and blocked as well. He does have this Shadow Priest, so if he's able to get this Death Knight away from this human army and save this Fiend, he will be able to use that Shadow Priest to heal up his Death Knight some. But this is not a position Lucifer wants to be in. His Death Knight is at less than 100 HP. The human expansion is almost finished already, and Lucifer has been able to do no damage. He's less than halfway to level 2 on his Death Knight. The human player already level 2 on his Archmage. So Lucifer not in a great position right now, but he did get this early Nerubian Tower, so it won't allow the human to do too much damage here in the beginning. There are 2 Fiends out and a Troll Berserker for the Undead, so he should be able to fend off this push very well. And since he has his Priest, his Death Knight is now being healed, so a good job there by Lucifer to pick up that Shadow Priest before he ran away from the human side of the map. But Agatha does have his expansion up already, so things are already looking good for him. He doesn't have too many towers up just yet. We will most likely see some towers coming up. And Agatha actually doing a fast tech to tier 2. This is something that Thu has been starting to do lately. He doesn't worry about getting mass towers like Infi. He techs early to tier 2, so he can go ahead and produce breakers in the beginning. So Agatha playing a bit risky with his towers, not getting very many towers, but he is being so aggressive here in the Undead base. One Footman does go down. So Agatha being aggressive here, taking out that Shadow Priest, but Lucifer does pick up level 2 on his Death Knight, so he's able to get Unholy Aura, so he should be able to save everything else here, especially with these 2 Cold Towers now attacking the human units. Another Footman looking very low, no mana on the Death Knight, so he won't be able to coil that last Footman, and a Footman does go down. Actually, he still goes down. He forgot to take Defend off, so the Skeletons were able to catch up to him. Now this defended Footman being attacked once again by the Fiends, but it looks like that Footman will escape. The Fiends won't be able to chase him down without risking the Death Knight getting attacked once more. So now Agatha is starting to put up some towers, but he did start his tier 2 tech really early, doing some very aggressive pushing here, so he was able to put up his expansion and tech virtually the same time without having a lot of towers. But now he will put up a bunch of towers at tier 2 just to make sure that Lucifer is unable to do a massive tier 3 push with a lot of destroyers. But Lucifer continuing to try to creep this green camp with the Archmage right here in his face. So Lucifer now attacking these water elementals. He does have his Lich out already, so tier 2 for the Undead. Gets a second hero, but the human is not actually that far behind in his tech, so his tech is almost finished as well. Lucifer hasn't teched to tier 3. And now we see Lucifer continuing to creep. So Lucifer deciding not to try to do any push on the expansion or the main base of the human player right now. Just creeping up, trying to get level 3 here on the Death Knight, a very important level. Without that level 3, the Death Knight has a hard time keeping any of these Fiends alive, especially once the Mountain King comes out. So about to pick up this crucial level 3 here. Death Knight does get it, and halfway to level 2 for the Lich. On the other side of the map, the human player does have some towers up at his expansion, put up an Arcane Vault, so he's healing up for just a little while, and he has now reached tier 2 on his main, so 2 Arcane Sanctums now going up. So Agatha doing a really good job of getting these tier 2 buildings up. The Undead player just now teching to tier 3. Agatha may try to do a mass air push similar to what Thu does, so we could see a tier 3 tech coming from him as soon as he gets the lumber. Unfortunately, there is no Goblin Shredder available on Echo Isles, which can really be a problem for players that expand. So Lucifer just continuing to creep up here in the middle of the map. He's unable to get this last creep here. A Just of Appearance going off on these Fiends that are burrowed, but Lucifer doing a good job of keeping them alive anyway. And Agatha not able to do too much damage there, even though he got the creep jack. So Lucifer playing very nicely in these micro battles. However, as far as the macro game goes, the human has had an expansion up for quite a while.
Forces are under attack.
So it's going to be really hard for Lucifer in the later game, as long as that expansion stays up, to really match the army of the human. Agatha trying to chase down this Fiend, and he's burrowed again, and now Dust of Appearance going off once again. Lucifer doing everything he can to keep these Fiends alive. He just now got mana on his Death Knight, so was unable to save that last Fiend that went down, but he does save this Fiend from going down. So Lucifer having a really great micro here, picking off Footman, and Agatha not really able to do too much. He did pick off one Fiend, a Mountain King now here for Agatha, but his Archmage forced to use a potion, almost going down. So Lucifer doing a good job in the micro game. Of course, that is really one of his trademark abilities. He has really high APM, and yes, a lot of it is spam, but he has great micro. So Lucifer able to keep these Fiends alive against all these defended footmen, even though there's a Mountain King now here as well. So Lucifer, it looks like he's going to continue to creep up. So Lucifer just wanting to creep up the entire map here, it looks like. but he did see the human there, so he needs to be very careful. He sees the human army, a couple of breakers are already out, and now that the Mountain King is here, there is the chance that the Death Knight can go down pretty quickly, especially when he has mana. The Lich now being bolted, and so the Tier 2 battle now beginning. Now that Agatha is not just relying on footmen, he can do a lot better job here with these Spellbreakers. They're a lot quicker than footmen. They're able to run away from these fiends, and they're able to do a lot of damage to the undead heroes. However, Lucifer does have a hero level advantage. He's at level 3 on the Death Knight and level 2 on the Lich already, whereas level 2 for the Archmage and level 1 for the Mountain King. So Lucifer, with his creeping strategy, instead of trying to push the human base, like you see undeads do often, he's deciding to do a lot of creeping and rely on the nuke of the undead so far, which has actually done a really good job, especially when footmen were out on the field. However, the human player can no longer be beaten by just nukes as far as the unit composition goes, since he has breakers. He does need to be careful with those heroes, however, if Lucifer continues to get a lot of levels on these undead heroes. And some more creeping going on from the undead now. Looks like Agatha will get yet another creep jack. He actually ran around the trees, and he's going to flank the undead here, so a really good job. Now he's focusing down on this ensnared fiend, but the Death Knight focusing down on this Mountain King, a bolt almost the Death Coil almost killing the Mountain King, and now a statue being focused by these breakers. The statue is able to take down, or the breaker's able to take down statues very quickly. Breaker about to go down though. So Lucifer actually doing once again a really good job at micro, and he's able to keep this destroyer alive with just 44 HP. He doesn't have enough to coil this destroyer, but the destroyer barely staying alive and is able to kill the last water elemental. So Lucifer showing how amazing his micro is. Even though he got creep jacked, there were a lot of breakers out on the field, and the Mountain King and an Archmage. Lucifer able to stand right in the middle of the creeps and just use his micro skills to pick off almost all of the units of the undead, of the human. So Lucifer doing a great job here. And now he's continuing to creep, but this time he's creeping on the side of the human. So he's stealing some of the creeps from the human player, continuing to add levels to his Death Knight. His Death Knight now level 4, his Lich already level 3. And if you check out the human players here, you have only a level 2 Archmage and an almost dead Mountain King somewhere. So Mountain King almost dead.
Players' forces are under attack.
Being revived now from the staff. And Agatha on the back foot here, and Lucifer once again not deciding to chase the human player, but instead just going straight for the creeps. This time he's creeping up a lot of the orange camps on the side of the human, so he saw that he had a hero level advantage, and he had the human kind of running around on the back foot, so Lucifer will be able to creep up a lot of the human player's creeps, which will give him a huge hero level advantage. However, he doesn't have an expansion, so the expansion of the human player continuing to allow Agatha to build quite a big army. He has 600 gold already, and he's at 50 food. However, if you look at Lucifer, he only has 500 gold, and he's sitting at 50 food. So right now you can see that the expansion for the human player is really starting to come into play here. He's already tier 3, starting to add a lot of production buildings and research a bunch of upgrades, so Agatha will pull ahead in the economy advantage pretty soon, since this expansion has been up for so long. And one flying machine out for Agatha. He has researched the AoE upgrade for his flying machines in case Lucifer decides to get a lot of destroyers. However, he's unable to do too much damage to these towers here. The human tower is being repaired by 6 peasants.
Players' forces are under attack.
Now we do have Agatha creeping up a green camp as he was sitting outside of his base. We can see he's starting to bank up quite a bit of gold here, sitting at 50 food. He's already at 800 gold, getting some research upgrades on his units. The fiends are 1 attack upgrade versus 1 attack upgrade as well for the breakers. And now it looks like Agatha continuing to add research upgrades for all of his units before he wants to break over 50 food. But at the same time, Lucifer is able to continue creeping up the entire right side of the map here. So Lucifer just going for hero levels here. He's not even caring at all about this expansion. So he's even nuking down the turtles here. So Lucifer, apparently his strategy is to rely on the massive hero levels of his own heroes. And now Agatha will be able to creep up the final creep of this shop here. Lucifer already took 2 of the creeps there. So Lucifer taking down this bottom right turtle camp here, continuing to add experience to his heroes, already level 4.5 on the Death Knight, and the Lich almost at level 4. And if you check out the heroes of the human, we have a level 1 Paladin, still level 2 on the Archmage, and only level 1 on the Mountain King. So now Agatha trying to do some creeping on the left side of the map, but it looks like Lucifer will meet him there as well. So we could see a big creep jack here, since the human doesn't have too much of an army, and there's a lot of mana here on these undead heroes. So we already have a pendant of energy on the Death Knight, so quite a bit of mana on the Death Knight. A coil going off here on the Paladin. The Paladin almost going down, but a nice TP there by Agatha. So a pendant of energy for the Death Knight, and it looks like Lucifer will continue to creep. Now he's going to creep up his side, so he'll continue to add the hero level advantage here. However, he doesn't have an expansion, so it looks like Lucifer is wanting to play the can I nuke your heroes regardless of your unit game. And so far his hero levels are way ahead of the human player. So unless the human player is able to kill quite a few of the undead units, he's going to be quite a bit behind this entire game, since Echo Isles doesn't have a lot of creep camps. So almost level 5 already on the Death Knight, and there are only 2 spots left on the map to really creep. This small green here and the orange mercenary camp on the left side of the map. Lucifer will be able to creep up both of those very easily. So actually a Tome of Experience dropping here for the Undead, so he will pick up level 4.5 on the Lich and almost level 5 on the Death Knight. So a really nice item there for the Undead player, since he's definitely going for the hero level game here, and he will be creeping up this left side orange camp. On the right side of the map, though, you see that Agatha is unable to do anything. He knows that he is trying to bank up at 50 food. He's at 2,000 gold right now, banking up at 50 food, researching upgrades. He is now 2-1 on his breakers. The Fiend's 3-0, and Lucifer sitting with 1,600 gold. So Agatha has more gold and getting more research upgrades right now, but he's just sitting in his base as the Undead creeps up the rest of the map. Lucifer was able to creep up the right side, so now Agatha is left with nothing. So the hero levels definitely go to Lucifer, and level 3 coil does so much damage, and with the Archmage only level 2 right now, almost level 3, the Archmage could go down in just 1 coil, 1 nova, and a little volley from the Fiends. And the final creep of the map being killed by Lucifer, so there are absolutely no creeps left here on Echo Isles. And Lucifer now will either have to push or build an expansion, since he knows he can't just sit in his base while the human has his expansion. So it looks like one Acolyte is going down on the map. A flying machine scouting out for Agatha. I assume that he sees the undead army here. I'm not sure if he saw the Acolyte though. And now Agatha, with another flying machine, able to see the Sentry Ward of Lucifer, was about to go out anyway. And now the Undead looks like he will decide to escort this Acolyte down to his expansion. So a Haunted Goldmine and Necropolis going up for Lucifer here. So he has decided to expand. There's not really much else he can do in this game unless you would try to push the human base. But so he started his expansion. It looks like he's going to try to buy some items, maybe put on a little pressure of the human while his expansion goes up. And he actually got another pendant of energy and purchased another one. So he has 2 pendants of energy on his Lich and a pendant of energy on his Death Knight. So the mana of the undead heroes right now is insane. So the nukes will play a huge factor in these battles. It looks like 800 mana here on the Lich, 555 mana here on the Death Knight, and a flying machine getting caught off guard. Able to escape, however. They have very fast movement speed. And the human army now, it looks like he's breaking 50 food, going instantly to 80 food. And over at the Undead base, you can see he's decided to break upkeep as well. He feels like he's banked enough, but he's only able to go up to 60 food as of the moment. So actually, Agatha going way beyond 80. He's sitting at 88 food now. It looks like he's going to try to go all the way to 100. He still has 1,000 gold left, and he's at 88 food. So Agatha was chilling in his base, just sitting around, and now he's adding a huge army, already at 90 food. And Lucifer now looks like he wants to engage. However, he's only at 60 food, so he needs to be very careful here. He's morphing quite a few destroyers, but there are a lot of flying machines here. Maybe not enough flying machines to deal with 3 destroyers with full mana. So a lot of these destroyers going down to the AoE of the Undead, and the wrong Death Knight being focused down by Agatha. So Agatha attacking the Illusion here, and the Mountain King being focused down and goes down to a coil. So Lucifer using his Death Knight here to take out quite a few of these units, just picking them off one at a time. Agatha does have a staff, but you can't really do anything with a staff up against the coil of the Undead, the coil nova of the Undead at least, since the units go down so quickly. And Lucifer using that ward perfectly. The Illusion ward was able to defer a lot of damage from his Death Knight since Agatha was focusing down the wrong unit, and you can see that he was doing a lot of damage to the wrong the fake Lich as well. So Agatha trying to put up some scout towers here now that he sees the undead army, but if he would have gotten these up during that huge battle, it might have made a difference, but these destroyers will easily be able to cancel out these towers here now. So Agatha should just cancel them, and it looks like he doesn't cancel one of them. So Agatha not paying attention to that tower, he doesn't cancel that tower when it was in production. And now a couple more peasants going down, and there's the cancel for that second tower. And so now we have level 5 on the Death Knight, level 5 on the Lich. So all in all, a really good job here by Lucifer with his overall strategy to decide to focus on hero levels, since he was able to kill the Mountain King and really force that TP of the human player, even though the human had a 100 food army. And now it gave him enough time to put up his own expansion, so Lucifer can now sit outside his own expansion, try to even up the playing field as far as gold goes, and be content that the fact that he's over 50 food now. He's so sitting at 70 food for the undead, and back at the human's base you can see that he is in high upkeep, going to 85 food. However, he doesn't have enough gold to go too much higher than 85, so he's going to have to engage right here. He can't sit at 85 food for too long, because that means Lucifer is getting quite a bit more gold than he is actually. Right now Agatha mining 8 gold every time, and Lucifer getting 14. So a big battle here. These destroyers now finally getting low. They don't have mana anymore. The flying machine's doing a lot of damage. Lucifer forced to run back towards the Blight, try to web some of these units. A Griffin Rider going down. One of the destroyers did fall though. Another nuke going off. And the Undead getting focused on his hero right now, but he does have an invulnerability potion and a greater health potion, so the Death Knight will live. So Agatha trying to push the Undead into his base. The staff going off on the Paladin, so the Paladin almost died there, but he was staffed out. And these 2 destroyers look like they're going to fall down, so finally Agatha's able to kill these destroyers. The fact that they had no mana making a huge difference this game, and Fiends being focused down once again by these breakers. So Agatha able to push the Undead back now. So Agatha finally able to do quite a bit of damage here to Lucifer, so Lucifer forced to retreat, and it gives Agatha enough time to use some of these flying machines to try to take down this expansion. He's pushing the Undead player back into his base, and it looks like Lucifer, he did pick up level 6 on his Death Knight, dropping his potion, so he actually gets quite a bit of mana here. So he dropped his items, picked up a potion, and now Lucifer's going to try to push the human back once again, but he doesn't have a very big army. He does have 2 destroyers now with full mana though, so that is really what turned the tides in the first big battle. And a nice invulnerability potion used by the Lucifer there. He was able to dodge that bolt, so once again showing his micro skills, and now he's focusing down on this Mountain King. Mountain King being forced to staff away. The Archmage very low on HP though, and now these sorceresses are going down to a Nova, so the Archmage at very low HP. There is enough mana on the Death Knight for Coil, and picking up the level right before it dies, so Lucifer using Coil to kill the level 4 Archmage. A bit of bad luck there for the human player, since his hero leveled up right before it died, so it will cost more and take longer to revive. And now that there are no heroes on the field, Lucifer is content to continue this battle and pick off a couple of more units. The human forced to retreat, so the hero levels of the Undead are extremely powerful, able to take down those heroes quite easily, and we can see why now that Lucifer decided to creep up the entire map instead of really trying to do anything else. Instead of trying to push the expansion or push the main or do any type of all-in push, he was content to just creep up the map, creep up the human player's side of the map, and now he has these extremely high-level heroes able to take down the human heroes at will. The Mountain King now back out on the field and picked up the Archmage at the tavern. So the Archmage was revived. The Paladin and the Mountain King now fully healed from being staffed away. We have 1 staff on the Archmage and no other staff, so only 1 staff here for the human player. He was sitting at 80 food for so long, he didn't really have too much gold, so he couldn't afford to buy more than 1 staff. But now we have these flying machines coming in, doing some damage here to the Lich. They're all being webbed, so focus fire going down on these breakers, a Crypt Fiend getting kind of low, another Crypt Fiend low, a bolt going off on the Crypt Fiend, a Coil saving 1 Crypt Fiend, a Knight about to go down, so now Lucifer deciding to focus down on the units here of the human player, focusing these Knights, saving his Crypt Fiends, a bolt going off on a Crypt Fiend, another Knight about to go down, Holy Light saving that Knight, a nice staff there, so Lucifer saving these Fiends as well, so this is quite a big battle of nothing dying. Coil going off on this Fiend that Agatha is focusing down on. He was able to take down 1 statue though, and another Crypt Fiend being focused. There is almost mana for another Coil here on the Death Knight, and the Mountain King actually going down to a fast little focus fire there with a Nova, for the Undead player, and the Archmage being focused here now. The Paladin picking up level 3, able to heal quite a bit more HP now that he's level 3. The human player forced to use an invulnerability potion, now trying to chase down this Undead Death Knight, but the Death Knight does have a potion. And while he chases down that Death Knight, the Fiends are just continuing to tear apart the human army. So Lucifer doing a much better job here in the micro battle. And he's able to run the human back once again. So Lucifer bringing out some acolytes even while the human player was trying to focus down on that Death Knight. A nice little attempt there of Novaing. That was an amazing little attempt at a move there by Lucifer. He dropped the Pendant of Energy right in front of the Lich. The Lich picked it up so he would get enough mana to Nova, but the Mountain King was staffed away right at the perfect moment. Or the Paladin, excuse me. Paladin almost going down there. So Lucifer doing every trick in the book here, trying to even out this game, or continue to press his advantage at least on his heroes. Even though the human player had his expansion for so long. The main gold mines for both players have already ran out, and the human player is almost out of gold here on his expansion mine since he had it so much quicker than Lucifer. So even though he had such a huge army advantage, he wasn't able to capitalize, and Lucifer was able to defend his expansion 2 times. So now the human player will run out of gold quite a bit faster than the Undead player. You can see that almost 10,000 gold still left in the gold mine for the Undead, with barely over 1,000 for the human. So should this game continue on and the human unable to stop this expansion of the Undead, Lucifer will begin to have a huge economic advantage since he will have gold production and the human won't have any. So things looking not too great for the human. His hero level's just too low. He does have level 3 here on the Paladin now, and once this Mountain King revives, he will have the level 3 Mountain King. So level 2 Bolt and level 2 Holy Light finally might be able to do quite a bit of damage to this Undead army. But he lost so many units in the process trying to get to those levels on his heroes, and the Undead heroes already level 6 for the Death Knight, almost level 7 for both heroes actually. So Lucifer using his heroes to their fullest potential here in this game now, just kind of sitting around, dropped all of his pendants of energy, and he's just letting some mana rebuild here on or regenerate on the Undead heroes. And now it looks like the human player will once again try to do something to the Undead before he runs out of gold. He knows he's going to be out of gold soon, and the Undead will be the only player with gold production. So if something doesn't happen soon, it could be bad for the human. And another bolt dodge there for Lucifer. So that is the 2nd or 3rd bolt dodge that he's been able to do with his own invulnerability potions. And staff already going off on the Mountain King. He knows that those heroes will take that Mountain King down so quickly. And now it looks like Lucifer will run towards the bottom of the expansion here. He does have level 6 on the Lich, so we could see Death and Decay if he did skill that. And Lucifer going to try to put some pressure here on the human expansion. The human expansion only has 200 gold left, so Lucifer really doesn't have to do anything right here, since the gold mine is already almost out anyway. And Lucifer looks like he's sacrificing some acolytes here. Or, well, he's trying to block off the pathway here, so if the human tried to attack, he would have these acolytes in the way. But it doesn't really matter. The human player, on the other hand, is going to the shop, trying to buy some items, trying to get a heal scroll, trying to keep his heroes alive later on, and vulnerability potion on the Paladin. So now Lucifer going in, trying to damage some of these towers. Unnecessary, I think, right here, since he does see that the gold mine is gone. He's able to take down this Griffin Aviary. The human only had just very little gold, only 200 gold. And now the human player decided to turn around. He was going to try to fight the Undead at his expansion, now turning around and bringing tons of militia. Looks like he will try to do one final push here on the Undead's base. Lucifer does have a TP on his hero though, so as soon as the human player gets there, he will be able to TP away. And it looks like he will maybe finish off another tower here. He's morphing his destroyers. So he morphed his destroyers first, now the TP going off. The human player about to get TP'd on. And now a Fiend going down, a nice staff there by Agatha, maybe a bit early, but he does save that Knight. And Holy Light killing this Fiend, maybe a misclick there by Lucifer. It looked like he tried to coil that Fiend, but he accidentally clicked on his Abomination. But now there are 3 destroyers with mana right now, so Agatha needs to be very careful with his units. Level 2 Holy Light going off on the Death Knight, or the Knight, but the Knight still goes down. And now a bit of a disjointed attack here by Agatha. Agatha not really focusing down on what he's supposed to be doing. His flying machines are just sitting out here, not attacking these destroyers at all. I'm not really sure why he's doing that. Maybe he's seeing that the game is slipping away right here. But the level 7 Death Knight is doing so much damage. A bolt going off on that Death Knight now, but the Death Knight will be able to just run around. And he actually raises Undead here, or raises these dead units here, animate dead. So a lot of invulnerable units for the Undead player, and the human army melting away. So Lucifer doing a really good job once again, and now these flying machines finally go down. Agatha wasn't paying attention to them at all. One fiend looks like it might go down here. Holy Light going down on the Knight, so another fiend going down, and it looks like Lucifer will be able to pick off this breaker to return, and a Holy Light actually saving that breaker now. The Paladin right here very close to dying, but he does use a nice invulnerability, dodging a coil there, so wasting some mana on the Death Knight. So both players dodging the hero spells of each other. But it looks like Lucifer has gotten quite a bit of an advantage now. His army is obviously much bigger, his hero levels are extremely high, and he has an expansion whereas the human player doesn't. So another nuke going down, taking down that Knight instantly. And Lucifer once again going to just sit in his base as mana continues to regenerate on his heroes. Lucifer doesn't really have anything else he has to do. He doesn't have to attack the human base. There are so many towers there, so he can just sit here and wait for the human to come to him, dropping his pendants of energy. And the human player with 2 breakers, 3 heroes, and 1 knight. So not too much that the human player is going to be able to do here, sitting at 26 food, whereas the undead player sitting at 58 food, and he has these massive hero levels on the Death Knight and the Lich. So 4 fiends, 2 statues, 3 destroyers, and an abomination, with another statue being produced. So it looks like he's going to transition into mass destroyers here. Nothing that the human player will be able to do against that, since he can't produce any more flying machines. So Agatha does have an invisible Mountain King here. All of Lucifer's items are on the ground, so it'd be crazy if this Mountain King could take the items. But Lucifer picking up at the perfect time. If this were BNet, everyone would call Lucifer a hacker, but we know Lucifer is just a pro gamer, so he had really nice timing there. Had the Mountain King been there just a few seconds earlier, he would have picked up all those items. But the Undead now, we'll see all of these human heroes, and a nice Holy Light going there, saving the Archmage for 5 seconds extra. Paladin using his invulnerability shield, trying to focus down on this Death Knight, but the Death Knight has an invulnerability potion and dodges another bolt, so the 3rd or 4th bolt dodge for Lucifer here, showing excellent micro even in these large battles. So invulnerability potions on a lot of the heroes, and a bolt going off on the Death Knight. The Death Knight used a heal potion, and the Paladin about to go down. The Mountain King goes down at the exact same time, and Agatha, he's calling GG, and Agatha losing his game here versus Lucifer in the AWT #2 qualifiers. So a really good game. Nice strategy there by Lucifer not to try to push any type of or do any type of all-in push that you see a lot of undeads doing with meat wagons and fiends. Just focusing on killing a bunch of units, getting his heroes up, since he knew there weren't a lot of creeps on Echo Isles, and it really worked out for him at the end. The hero level is just too strong.